Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Dirty Knives. Today I have a very interesting review impressions of a knife that was part of our pass around that we got in from Benchmade. This is the Mini Claymore and that's in CPM D2 steel. A pretty cool little knife that I rather like and I think is pretty fun and kind of a cool little knife. It is a Benchmade design. It's an automatic, so you know you have to deal with that. It's an auto knife. I don't know who exactly is the designer of this knife. Let's see. Does it say? Sometimes they have a little reference on there. I think maybe it's an in-house Benchmade design. I didn't see any information that told me who designed the knife. And if somebody knows and there's a specific designer, let me know in the comments down below. I didn't find anything when I was looking. So, but it's a very cool knife. This is FRN plastic injection molding scales. Not my favorite, but it does make the knife lighter, if that's an objective. It probably does reduce costs, even though this knife is not super cheap. It's USA, made in the USA, so just keep that in mind. It is USA made. I will say it's a button lock automatic, and it has a lock on here, and so red means it's hot, means you can deploy it. It uses CPM, D2 steel. Now, D2 steel with the crucible version, which is a powdered version, is much better than the ingot D2. So it's not, you know, like Chinese D2 or some European D2. This is D2 steel from crucible, and it's powdered. So it's going to be a stronger, better edge retention. It's absolutely a huge improvement over regular ingot D2. So keep that in mind. So it says D2, and you think, D2 is supposed to be cheap. Well, not CPM D2. CPM D2 is much better D2. So let's just put it that way. The materials, this is a steel deep pocket carry clip, and we know that from the magnet. Yep, very for sure. And we've got, you know, buttons all the way around. Now, the only thing is these are all T6s, all the way here, 4 T6s, a T8. Or was that a T10? I can't remember. Let me double check that real quick. I thought it was a T8, but it could be a T10. So this right here is a T10. So that's a T10. Let's just confirm that. Yeah, it is a T10. So T10 on the pivot screw, and then T6 is over here. In case you're curious, I'll just go ahead and do that. So we have T6 right there, all right? And we'll just show you T6s right here. Yeah, so T6 right there. T6 as well for the deep pocket carry clip, which to me, it's like, you know, for the price and everything you get, T8s would be nice because T6 can be easy to strip, but you can probably get away with it with some good quality tools. I recommend Wiha bits and the Wiha stubby bit driver, a magnetic bit driver, especially magnetic. That's great to hold it in. This is a button lock, and it does lock in place. So let's just talk about some of the features. The way you open this is you press the button, it opens. You press the button to release the lock, and it closes back. Now, as with any automatic, it will go back into the lock position. So that's nice, right? And it does lock in place. Excuse me. It's late. I'm trying to finish up some reviews because I'm behind. So it uses, I think, kind of a variant of the plunge lock, so to speak. I think that's what that is. I'm going to guess. Yeah, maybe not. No, it's a little bit different. Yeah, well, maybe it could be sort of a variant of it. But so it's locked in place here, and then it's locked in place here. And you can lock it there in place so it doesn't disengage. You can lock it here, lock it in place so it doesn't disengage. So that does give you some of that nice stability. It does have some detent lash. It's not terrible. It is pretty well centered and has retained its well centeredness when I deploy it. No, it's not too much blade rock there at all. So it holds it pretty well. So that's nice. You know, so that's some of the things. And this is, like I said, it's plastic injected molding, has a lanyard hole, deep pocket carry clip, almost completely concealed. So that's some of how the knife closes, the locking, and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and do some measurements. Let's see how much this guy weighs. All right, so ounces. Let's see. We're at 2.56 ounces. So that's pretty light. I mean, considering, right? And let's go ahead and look at the measurement of the blade. So 2.56 ounces. And we're looking at a knife overall that's about 7¼ inches. We've got from tip to the top of the handle scale, we are right at 3 inches. I mean, it might be 3 1/16 of an inch, right? Full cutting edge. Looks like it's 2 7/8 of an inch. So it's definitely got great ratios. So keep that in mind. That's kind of cool. It is reversible pocket carry clip, so it's lefty, righty, rejoice. And sometimes this is pretty nice to work with your left hand. You could close this if you're comfortable with this. This is not the easiest one to close one-handed. I can do it. Like my Knees Mac 2 Auto is super, super easy to do. But my ProTech TR3 is not, because it's got some catchy edges, right? And there's no difference in this one. Because it's, we'll talk a little bit about that with the materials and some of the ergonomics when we talk about it, but this is a steel liner up to about right here, and then it's FRN plastic injected over there. All right, so we got the blade stock thickness. Let's go ahead and measure that. We do need to get an idea of how thick that blade is. All right. Okay, so let's see what we're at. We're at 0.103, so we're 103, 104 thousandths of an inch. So basically about 0.1, 1/10 of an inch. All right, so it's about 1/10 of an inch. Not bad, pretty thin. It's going to make it a nice slicer, I think. Comes up to a fairly thin edge here. It stops right here in the middle somewhere, right? And then you've got a nice swedge on top up here. That's great for like turn cuts and stuff. But the flat grind stops about right here, which is, you know, it's not a full flat grind, which means it's not going to be as slicey, but it does have a pretty robust spine, which is good. You'll be able to do a lot of various tasks with this one here. It's got a nice coating, and I think this coating is a titanium or some sort of coating on here, I think. I can't quite remember how that worked, but anyways, it's pretty cool coating to help with any sort of corrosion, but I like it. So that is some of the stuff that we talked about. So what knife category does this fall into? This is definitely a regular knife. It's over $200. I think this one was around $220, $210, $215 to $220, somewhere around there. Might have gone up since then, but as of I last looked, it was around between $215 to $220. This is all blacked out. So, you know, that's the price you're talking about. Purpose is definitely EDC for sure. Could be a little tactical, being automatic. Some people are like, you know, auto is tactical, you know, it's battle ready. Not necessarily. Sometimes that can be good or bad. If you're in a tactical situation, you don't want a knife that makes noise. You want to be able to deploy it maybe quietly, right? And especially if you're, sometimes if you want to carry this, oh, sorry, recording this late, trying to get some reviews in because I'm so far behind. Anyways, you can work this knife, you know, in ways, but being an auto, sometimes it freaks people out. So just keep that in mind. Hard use, I don't know if I think this would be hard use. I mean, it does have, this is, by the way, an FRN back spacer. You got one standoff in there, but I don't know. It does flex. I can see that right there. So, you know, you take that for what it is. I'm not a big fan of FRN materials. It's not my favorite, and because of that, you know, we'll talk about at the end whether I'd recommend this or not. Let's just say it doesn't go well in the category to help recommend a knife. All right, so is it a collection piece? Well, if you're a Benchmade fan, I guess anything Benchmade is a collection piece. I'm not. I used to be a big Benchmade fanboy. I had so many Benchmades. Then I tried other knives and I saw there's a lot of other good knives out there. But don't get me wrong, I still have my Bug Out 535-4. It's got the aluminum milled textured scales. Those are really cool. Very, very, very nice knife. So I do like my Bug Outs. I would love to get a Benchmade Adamas with the crew wear that's polished on the blade, and it has the carbon fiber. That would be the one that I would really like to get into my collection. So I miss my Adamas. I would prefer it to be a mini Adamas, but that was a nice knife. I'd love to have that back. But so it could be a collection piece. Do I think it's a collection piece? No, I don't. If you're a Benchmade fan, you're gonna love this. If you're not, is there better things out there? Sure. If the aesthetics of it looks really, really cool to you, go for it, right? You know, go for it. I wouldn't say don't get it. I just want to make sure you understand what you're getting and if you're okay with that, right? So let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics and feel. The handle, the jimping, the thumb studs, you know, things like that. So the handles, it's okay. It's nice and contoured. It does have a good shape to it. There's some texture on there, some dimples and all that stuff works well. You got some jimping up here and jimping here. So if you try to hold it back ways like this, you could do that. So that's cool. The button here has a nice texture on there to release it and to open it, right? And it's got a nice texture on here for this locking mechanism. So you can lock it in place really well. Those are all positives. However, this FRN material is so unbelievably sharp here. Sharp, 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 sharp. Now, if I was to keep this and I was to take it apart, and I would never want to take an auto apart anyway. So, you know, That's one of my least favorite things to ever take apart, right? You only do that if you absolutely have to. And because of that, I wouldn't take this apart to mill that out. And that sharpness really bothers me. It really does. It becomes a non-recommended knife just from that alone. So just let me be straight up with you about that. The opening, closing, it's an auto, it's cool. It does have a way to lock it so you don't keep opening and closing. You know, but the only thing I don't like about that is you can still depress it. It makes you almost feel like you can do it. So I do that and then I lock it. And I can almost feel like I'm going to disengage it so it can be closed. So that, take it for what you will, if that's a big deal for you or not. Fidget Factor. All right. Fidget Factor is an automatic. You've got a locking mechanism, and it works really, you know, automatic works. Out of the potential Fidget Factor, you know, feel goodness, I'd say the Fidget Factor, this is going to be a 2.5, maybe 3, probably 2. A 2 to 2.5 out of 3 potential for Fidget Factor. It is an automatic. You press the button, you close it, you press the button, you open it, and see how it just dropped it. The problem is I can't really easily work this one-handed. I can do it now, but this is not a perfectly easy scale to deal with. It's a little challenging. It slipped out of my hand. So I gave it a 2, right? I can't give it a 3. Out of that, what's the fidgety goodness? It works. It's not as strong as a McNeese or a ProTech, but it works. You know, it locks, but you almost feel like you're getting past the point of no return that could almost release the button. And so if I lock it here, you can hear it squeaky. So this button lock is very squeaky. It's not smooth like some other button locks that you'd like to see. Like my ProTech Auto is way smoother. So fidgety goodness, I'm going to give this a 70. It's going to be a C. It's the best I can do, and that's being generous, I think. Because it is an auto, it does have a cool lock feature, and that does work. So, you know, I'll give it a 70. Overall thoughts, and is it recommended? Overall thoughts is that it's a pretty cool knife. If you're a Benchmade fan, you're going to love this. You're definitely going to want to keep it, get it into your collection. I get it. If you're a Benchmade fan, this would be something that you'd probably want to have if you collect everything. Or if you're just a Benchmade fan, you love this design. Get it. Go for it, right? If you're not, just take in mind what you're getting and the price and the value for that. And if there's something better out there, I'm going to say probably go for that before you go for this. Just my, excuse me, here's my two cents about it, right? I think it's okay. I cannot recommend it. I don't recommend against it vehemently because, you know, this sharpness you can fix. It's still small, so if you're going to buy a small knife, you get what you get. So there you go. That's kind of where I'm at. I like the knife and I think it's cool, but I can't recommend it. So, you know, really it's up to you. Ultimately, it's always up to you. What knife do you like? What do you want to get? What's your favorite knife? You know, everything you buy is really up to you. The question about this knife is just really, honestly, quite straight up, is this knife, you know, is it something I'd want to buy? And for me, it's going to be a no, right? It'll be a pass on this one, for sure. So I'm going to send this along to the next person in the Apex group so they can, you know, unbox it and review it. So we'll get that out, but very cool. So there you go. That's my thoughts on it. Hey, if you guys have any questions about the knife, you disagree, you'd like to ask me anything about the Mini Claymore, please feel free to comment down below. I do try to reply to all the comments. I really appreciate the comments, and I enjoy having conversations with you guys, especially in the comments. So I really appreciate that. If you have any questions about any future reviews or ideas for Rob's ramblings, please let me know. I would love to hear from you as well, because I do like to do that too. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button as well? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel a lot. It helps me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And if you've done all that, maybe consider hitting the notification button as well, so you can be notified of future content as it is dropped. And if you haven't a chance to, maybe check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.